Hello, dear viewers. I just finished watching the latest episode of She-Hulk, but that's not why I'm actually here today. Um, for the past few weeks, I have been working on my video thoughts of the Resident Evil Netflix series, a series that has been largely panned by a lot of people throughout the YouTube community and throughout the internet, but particularly harsh by YouTube critics and people who are more than happy to voice their opinion. And for the record, I'm not saying they're wrong in their opinion. I am not. And I'm still planning on doing my video. But it is August 26th, 2022, and Netflix has announced that they are canceling Resident Evil. Now, this is upsetting to me because, for one, I actually like the series. I'm even making a video dedicated to why I enjoyed this series. I thought it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect. It had its problems, it had its flaws here and there, but for the most part, it wasn't as egregious as I think a lot of people said it was. I think it had the spark of ideas and of good ideas, and if given a second season, it could have fleshed out a lot of those ideas to a greater extent. But that's not going to happen. So to that end, I have to say to all those detractors, are you happy? I've always tried to live with this outlook of just because I like something or I don't like something doesn't mean that everybody else in the universe can't enjoy it or can enjoy it. Thor Ragnarok comes to mind. I hate that movie. It is one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. I think the comedy gets in the way of any actual story development and any consequences that the show or the movie has to provide. I think it basically kills any attempt of a World War Hulk movie. I think there's a lot of bad things about that film, but you know what? I'm not going to take that away from anybody. I do not want to take away anyone's enjoyment from something if it means that much to them. And I think that's something that we've lost a lot of track of nowadays, and when it comes to this outrage culture here on the internet. Geeks and Gamers, The Quartering, those type of channels that they have their audience. They have their mentality of, if it's not what I like, just beat it into a living pulp and just eviscerate it for woke political ideas, which sometimes they're there, other times they're not. I think there are a lot of people nowadays look at stuff on a surface level and immediately decide, bad, horrible, throw it away. And maybe this is just me, but I always try and read between the lines of things. I try and look into something greater than the actual story. Maybe things that the writers of the show or the project may not have actually intended. Sort of deeper ideas and thoughts and philosophies behind these characters in these shows. And that's what I kind of got with Resident Evil Netflix, is that this idea of two siblings, both descended from one of the worst people of all time, now standing on either sides of the moral compass, one standing to protect or promote humanity while the other seeks to eradicate it and rebuild it in her own style. And it's a shame that we're not able to be able to see where this series is going. I know a lot of people complain about the drama and the angst and stuff like in this, where it's a lot like a CW show. And Andrew Dabb, who who as the showrunner did work on CW projects, and really not much beyond that. And I think it sets a huge precedent that there are. I can understand if people have their criticism. That's fine. But I feel that people who hate stuff simply because it's different, simply because it doesn't align with what already came out, with what has been established, that's a problem. A few weeks ago, I made a video reaction to God, I hated that movie. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, in which I described my thoughts of Namor being in this movie. And I said some choice words, not where I basically said I couldn't fathom the idea of a Latino Namor, that I didn't believe that they were going with this route. And I was rightfully called out for this. And I'm willing to own up for the stuff that I say, because I don't want to take away any enjoyment people might have from any project, unless it's Thor Ragnarok. But I realize that my words can have impact, and I wish people on the internet could not necessarily respect everything, but enjoy all content. But I'm saying respect the opinions of others. That's something I think we've lost a lot lately. This respect for one another's outlooks. I mean, again, I understand why people hate Netflix's Resident Evil. There was a lot of teenage stuff, but in the show's defense, you probably couldn't make a solid straight series based off of action and build up of horror and keep a sane and normal budget and make it work. If they did, I think that's one of the reasons why The Walking Dead worked so well, is they knew what to keep the budget focused on, and that was the effects, or the makeup, the costumes, the setting, and they didn't have to try and convert these worlds, like these settlements, these cities, into like brand new locations. I think if they had tried to keep something a little more local, it might have been a little more feasible, but then that wouldn't be the story they wanted to tell. And I feel that's one thing that this show really had going for it, is while it might not be what Resident Evil 1, like the Resident Evil people thought it was something that it meant something to somebody. And Resident Evil, Halo, Fallout, Star Wars, Marvel, it means something to everybody. My love for Resident Evil, my love for Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Resident Evil, Halo, is different from everyone's. I won't claim to be the best expert on things, or that I know everything there is to know about it. And what makes me enjoy this franchise so much will be something far different from what everybody else does. And if you look at the series from that perspective, that this might not be your version of Resident Evil, but it's something that people enjoy about it, or it's a new way of looking at this series, I think that is really a problem, a problem that people nowadays don't really have the ability to wrap their minds around. Like maybe, I don't know. Some people always wanted a multiplayer Fallout game, and guess what? We eventually got it, and people hated it. People wanted a Star Wars 7, 8, and 9. Well, guess what? You got it, and people were indifferent about that. Because I think what I like in Resident Evil might not be the same thing that Angry Joe might like, or Geeks and Gamers, or other Resident Evil fans. What I enjoy was my friend introducing it to me back in middle school, and it's stuck with me ever since. And I know I'm rambling, but I don't have a script in front of me, and this was spur of the moment because I saw this have happened, and COVID has been a bitch. I've been home for the past week because of it. But it's just upsetting that I feel like we do live in this world nowadays that is so polarized in our opinions and outlooks on things. Back in the 50s, there was like the Red Scare, where everybody was scared of seeing communist propaganda in Hollywood media. And I think the same thing is going on today, but with woke ideas. We're just jumping at shadows, and we're kind of bringing everyone down with us. You're right to criticize stuff. You are within every right to voice your opinion. But I think we've gotten to that point where we no longer really respect the opinions of others, the effort of others. We can't even say something nice about content anymore. Even if we can like everything, but the moment it becomes political, gone. But what do you think, dear viewers? Are you upset that Resident Evil's gone? Because I am. Or at least this show is gone. I was really hoping for at least a season 2, just so we could see where the story would go. And because I know a lot of people were like, well, guess what? They're probably going to make Ada Wong a transvestite black guy. Well, I would have loved a season 2 just so I could say no. And Lance Reddick, everybody gave it their all. Whether you like the final result is up to you, but I thought there was more good in that series than there was actually bad. I felt that they at least gave the attempt at making something brand new, because I'd rather have something that was unique, a new story, than something that we've seen time and time and time again. Or something like, how many times have we seen the destruction of Raccoon City in video games, or in live action, or in TV shows, or in whatever? How many times have we seen it? How many times are we going to reinvent the zombie mythos? How many times are we going to redo or reimagine what a licker will look like, or the tyrant? What if we could just make our own version of it? I think that's what true art is. It's one's interpretation of reality. And this reality of Resident Evil, it's always been set in one certain way, but maybe somebody had a different interpretation of it. I mean, nobody's wrong in it. You can draw a tree the same way, one way, and I can draw a tree a different way, and there's no wrong way to it. I know I butchered that quote, but I was paraphrasing it, and that was Mr. Rogers. And if you're going to argue with Mr. Rogers, then by golly, you're evil. But I understand why people didn't like it. There was a lot of politics. The characters of Jade and Billy weren't particularly likable, but I think that was part of the idea. And I'm going to explain this later on in my Resident Evil video. But I just wanted to get my voice out there and say what I felt about it. I'm upset that this show's gone. I was hoping for another season, but I guess the forces the powers at play here were just like, yeah, the world, we don't want to be laughed at anymore, and we've already been ripped to shreds enough as is. We're not going to try and make anything if we're certain that the world won't like it. And that's pretty much the same outlook George Lucas had when he gave up on directing. But that's what I think happened. I think that they just didn't want to deal with that drama anymore and just pulled the plug. And I hope you guys have a great day, dear viewers, and I look forward to talking to you in a little bit because I'm going to do a She-Hulk video. Take care.